Way back, we don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know your history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you know your history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you know your history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you know your history?
Hey, welcome back. It's been a while. It has been a long time. Happy to be back. We got a new cast of characters here. The familiars are not here, unfortunately, due to nonsense pandemics and stuff going on. So pandemics going on. So once again, you are now tuned into our Hidden History radio show. So I'm excited to be back. It's been a while. I know.
It feels like it's been almost a month.
It's back. Yeah. It seems like it has been, or feels like it has been a month. I'm not going backwards. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Daniel 11 is by far the most annoying, most intriguing chapter of Daniel I've come across because of the fact that Daniel documented a whole dynasty, basically, of families long before they were even born or even a thought. So it's very difficult because all of the Greek families share the same name repeatedly, and makes it very difficult. So I'm kind of glad I got through it the way we did. So I'm kind of gonna backtrack a little. So if you've caught up, all praise to the Lord. If you haven't, just you can always just make time to watch it. In the meantime, let's just get down to it. I ended off with Daniel 11 and 20 regarding the raiser of taxes, which was Seleucus the Fourth Philopator. Okay, Seleucus the Fourth Philopator. Now, before I even jump there, what I want to do is I want to bring up Nelson's complete book of Bible maps and charts here, okay? I always use this book all the time. I've been using it for years. Those of y'all who don't have it, get acquainted with it. It's very good stuff in here. So I would advise you to get it. And I want y'all to go to the pages I asked you to get. So you have here. Now, those of y'all who are familiar with the Bible, the King James Version Bible, the King James Version Bible initially had 80 books. And the Protestants around the 1700s felt that the books, the 14 books, had to be removed. It was 80 books. They removed 14, giving us 66. Right. Yeah, giving us 66. But there were 14 books that were removed. And when you read the Old Testament, it ends with the book of Malachi, which you see on your screen right here. You see on the screen, you see Malachi here. The Old Testament ends with Malachi, who was pretty much the stand-in for Nehemiah when Nehemiah went back to work, when him and Ezra were reforming the people and rebuilding the walls and rebuilding the remnants of the temple and so forth, or parts of the walls around the temple. They were refortifying it and so forth from when it was burned by the Babylonians. They continued the work of Zerubbabel and Joshua, and then Ezra and Nehemiah continued their work years later, decades later, and then Malachi stepped in when Israel started going off during Nehemiah's departure. Malachi and Ezra maintained the order that was established during the Persian captivity. So the Old Testament ends with the Persian captivity. I'm more than likely I'm gonna go slow through this captivity because it's very in depth. It's very complex in terms of names to remember, and the fact that these guys did a George Foreman. You know, George had 5 sons. All their names is George. So likewise, Ptolemy the first. Same with him. His sons named themselves Ptolemy the second, the third, the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and So I'm gonna try to go through this a bit slower, so that way those of you who may have any questions or comments, or I prefer questions. I don't really care much for comments because some of y'all make stupid ass comments. So I prefer you just ask questions regarding the class. Because you have Israel and heathens alike on the show, and heathen-minded Israel on the show that tend to leave commentary. So, I would appreciate that you not make stupid comments on the comment board in cowardice. I'd rather you call the show or ask a question ask a question. We have a number. You can reach us at, reach us at 267-702-6121. That's 267-702-6121. You can text us or call in regarding the topic of what's being taught. So, back to my point. So, Nelson's Bible Maps and Charts here, which I always use. I want you to go so I mentioned Malachi. The Old Testament ends with Malachi. This page is from this book I just showed you. And the Old Testament ends with Malachi, the Persian captivity. Then the New Testament starts after Persian captivity. What is wrong with that? When you read Daniel 7, Daniel gives a prophetic understanding of all the major captivities that Israel would undergo. That pretty much starts you could say the major captivities, and the Bible ends with it. The Bible ends with Daniel's prophecy of Rome and the Messiah. Daniel 7 is the 4 major captivities. Daniel 9 is the Messiah being born, within the time of that, which is called the time of the Gentiles. Daniel 7 verse 1 and down is the time of the Gentiles. So when you read Daniel's prophecy of the time of the Gentiles, he goes into Babylon, he goes into Persia, he goes into Greece, and he goes into Rome. When you read the Old Testament, it goes into Babylon, it goes into Medo-Persia, and then it just jumps to Rome. There's no Greeks. So you have to ask yourself, well, then you read in the New Testament, he's talking about Greeks and Romans, Grecians and Greeks, but there's no Greek captivity between Persia and Rome. Yet Paul talks about Greeks and Grecians all the time. Why is this? Because something was removed. Something of importance was left out, and that was removed by the Protestants. That is the 14 books. But there's a term that the historians give it, but it's very covert. It's called the intertestamental period. Okay? So I want you to go to pages up. Go to the next page I want. So after Malachi, in this book, Nelson's Bible Maps and Charts, it gives you, what page is this? 287. Blow it up from the see. After Malachi comes what? Bring it down. Oh, the intertestamental period. What is that talking about? Intertestamental means the testament in between testaments.
That's right.
Meaning you have the Old Testament and New. But in between intertestamental period is a certain time period between the Old and New. Or the Old, a continuation of the Old. leading into the new. Let's read this here. Let's see what this period consists of. Read that. Who's going to read that for me? Manny, you going to read that for me? You're judge today, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Load up some. Move the light over a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Let's go.
Intertestamental period.
Intertestamental period. Let's go.
Bridging the testaments.
Bridging. Wait. Now, this is my first time reading this page. I came across this page when I brought it out before with Wikipedia, but now I'm reading this for the first time. I only saw that I was just bugging out in the car as I was heading here. I'm like, wow, this is actually in here. This is crazy. This is after Malachi. It says bridging the testaments. Bridging the testaments. What bridges the testaments between the old and new? Read.
The map below shows Palestine as a subject region within 4 successive world empires.
Four successive world empires. What are those 4 successive world empires? The ones I mentioned before regarding Daniel. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. Those are the 4 successive world empires.
That's the 4 beasts.
Those are the 4 beasts in Daniel. And of course, the extension of the 4th beast will be the 5th one, which will be America, which is also in Daniel. But that's another topic. Read on.
Beginning with the Assyrian Empire in 750 BC.
Because the Babylonians and Assyrians were fighting over power, and Babylon became pretty much reigned supreme, took over. So Daniel documents Babylon first and foremost. Assyria, you can include Assyria in that as well, but you can include Assyria in that as well, but primarily it's Babylon. The Cushites took over. Cushite Empire. Go ahead.
And concluding with Alexander's Greek Empire of 331 to 146 BC.
Read it one more time. From the top. I'm sorry.
The map below shows Palestine as a subject region within 4 successive world empires.
We were a captive region within 4 successive empires. Go ahead.
Beginning with the Assyrian Empire in 750 BC. And concluding with Alexander's Greek Empire of 331 to 146 BC.
Okay, go ahead.
After his death in 323 BC,
right.
Alexander's leading generals.
Whoa. Alexander, what the hell is this? I'm gonna get on you, man. Alexander, sir. You said Alexander. I don't know who that is. It's like an actor from
Take your time, bro. Yeah.
Alexander. Don't be nervous. Come
Alexander's leading generals divided the empire and established their own dynasty.
Right, so his 4 leading generals. It was Lysimachus, Seleucus, Ptolemy, and Cassander. These are the 4. Cassander, Ptolemy, Lysimachus, and Seleucus. These are the 4 leading generals. All right, I'll leave it alone. Go ahead. Those
2
4.
of these controlled Palestine.
2 of these out of the 4 control Palestine. Go ahead, because Egypt was Israel and Egypt are pretty much share same land pretty much in a way. It's still neighbors. And the Ptolemaic family took over Egypt, and therefore they took over Israel as well, because those lands are neighboring. Go ahead.
First,
and Syria, also, because Syria is part of the land of Israel also. So both of them shared or fought over this land. They fought over our land. Go ahead.
First, the kingdom of Ptolemy.
Right.
Which held Palestine from 323 BC until 198 BC, when by battle it was lost to the kingdom of Seleucus.
So they were fighting over it. Remember, Daniel 11, Daniel gave a clear, concise explanation of the Seleucid dynasty and Ptolemaic dynasty fighting over our land and other lands amongst that one. In Daniel 11, Daniel wrote this during the time when Darius the Mede was ruling, which is heavy because that's before even Persia became dominant among the 2. Remember, Medo-Persian Empire was a dual empire. Medes and Persians ruling jointly together. So when Daniel wrote down the history of the Greeks families, these 2 Greek families fighting over power, he wrote this during a time before Cyrus was born. He wrote down a whole record of dynastic battles between Ptolemy and Seleucus families, their sons fighting over power in Daniel 11, which is crazy. And he mentions Rome. He mentions a Roman general in the midst of that.
And not only that, too, Dick, he mentioned Greece by name.
Yeah, by name. And Alexander too.
Right.
Mentions him also, but not by name, but he calls him the Great. So you know it's him. Okay, and then he mentions Scipius Africanus, his younger brother. Mentions him. All right, so let's read on.
Then the Syrian Seleucids ruled until the strengthening revolt of the Jewish Hasmonean family.
So I want you to remember that these Greek or European families, the Seleucids took over Syria. And that's where you get that woman from that ran to Christ, asking for a daughter to be healed, that Syro-Phoenician woman. Syro-Phoenician means a Syrian woman living in Canaan. Then she was a Greek woman. That was a white woman, all right? A heathen, pretty much. Historically, we know of her. So someone argues, say, nah, she was Ham. Either way, she was a heathen. But historically, Syro-Phoenicians are Greek people, are Greeks. Syro-Phoenicians are the white counterpart of actual Hamite Phoenicians that resided there first before we took over the land. And remnants of them resided there while we were in the land. Okay, you had Hamite Phoenicians and you had Syro or Greek Phoenicians, white Phoenicians. Okay, that Edom, based upon the conquest of the Greeks taking over that part of the land. That's what she was. All right, read on.
Then the Syrian Seleucids ruled until the strengthening revolt of the Jewish Hasmonean family.
Right, and the Hasmonean family rose up. We'll read about that later on, Lord's will, or next week. Go ahead.
Later called the Maccabees.
Later called, because Hasmonean means the sons of Simeon. Son of Simeon, that goes with the Mattathias, his family line, who had 5 sons, Jewish Maccabees, to be referred to as the Maccabean family. The Hammer family. Go ahead.
Gained complete independence in 143 BC.
Right, so the Declaration of Independence, that's ours right here. The Book of Maccabees is the history of our independence, not America's.
That's right.
We don't give a damn about America's independence. We were still slaves during that time. Our independence should be celebrated is feast of dedication. That's our Declaration of Independence.
And also Passover.
That was in our dedication, in our tabernacles.
Yep.
That's what that is. That's our Independence Day. The Mattathias family, Hasmonean family. That's our Independence Day, our Independence Week. All right? The hell with July 4th. Go ahead.
Jewish independence of Judea lasted until the Romans occupied the region under General Pompey.
Right, General Pompey. That's when they captured Jerusalem. Right, General Pompey. So that's Rome now. Go ahead.
In 63 BC.
Mm-hmm.
The Romans continued to occupy the whole of Palestine throughout all of the New Testament history.
Mm-hmm.
Maps illustrating these shifts of political power over Palestine may be found on page 288 to 291.
So go down. No, you see, what I'm showing you is that the succession of the 4 world emperors. You see Babylon. Blow it up some more. What's it say there? Thank you. Let's go down. Babylonian Empire, 612 to 539. And of course, you got to count 609. That's when Israel got conquered. 609, Judah got conquered. All right? Then go over 609 to 539 to 70 years. 70 years. Then you have, they conquered Assyria at 612. Then you have Persian Empire, 539 to 331. And then you go over to the left. Greek Empire, 331. Alexander conquered the Persian Empire. And you have Assyria, which ties into Babylon. Then you have, we'll go over. Is that it? It don't show Rome. But the Rome comes after that. Okay, Rome comes after that. The succession of 4, well, it mentions Assyria. You don't really count Assyria. But a succession of 4 world empires. So this is called, it mentions Alexander the Great, leading into General Pompey, who captured Jerusalem. All right? So that's the intertestamental period. You had to have the book of the Maccabees. That is the intertestamental period. Let's get some more. Let's go. So this is now, go to the next page, 287. Let's watch this. So you have Malachi, intertestamental period. Then what else? Go over. Watch this. That's maps there. Go over. Next page. Another map again about the Greeks taking over. Go on next page. Let me see what that says. Go up. What's this? Go up. See, expansion of Palestine under the Maccabees. This is still the intertestamental period. Watch this. Go on next page. Watch this. What's this say? What did I say? Roman Empire. This is their beginning. The Roman Empire right here. Let's go over. That's it? Nah, it should be more. Should be a page that says New Testament. Come on, y'all. Come on, come on. Yeah, it's that book. I know it's that book.
That one, right?
I gave it to him already. I gave it to him earlier. Amos, did you take the picture of that I told you? New Testament? They have it already. Come on, y'all. Come on, come on, come on. Y'all slipping today. What page is that last? What last page was that? 291, sir. 290 what? 291. Right, so the page after that, 291, what comes after that? Need y'all to be a bit more organized today. A lot to cover. What I'm doing right now for y'all is I'm kind of backtracking because this history is very, very detailed and very, very complex to an extent. So I decided I'm gonna start making the classes a little, I'll say shorter in terms of giving you guys time to ask your questions or comment based upon calling in or texting. So y'all can kind of keep up. Because this is advanced. This is advanced history here. Huh?
To dissect it?
Yeah, to dissect this. This is advanced history here. Yes. All right, now, blow it up some. It looks terrible, but it's all right. Blow it up. You guys take a picture of that before?
Is not there, everything is messed up.
All right, so anyway, let me just continue. So, New Testament. Let's just forget it. It's taking too long. Let's go to the other one I want. The other book I want. The other, what's that book? Y'all done with it? Let me get that book. So, after that, after the intertestamental period, you have the New Testament. The New Testament ends up after that. Okay, the New Testament begins after that. So you cannot have a New Testament without a testament that bridges the gap between the old and new. Hence the Maccabean revolt. That is the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha is the intertestamental period. That's what it is. All right? Now, the next book I want to bring out to y'all is this, the Bible Atlas. Another book I always bring out all the time. Holman's Quick Source. I use Nelson's complete book of Bible maps and charts. And I use the Bible Atlas here, all right? With Holman's Quick Source Bible Atlas of charts and biblical reconstructions. I use this also. So now we're gonna go to page 240, right? Page 240. Let's go there. Hopefully y'all won't mess this up too. Intertestamental period on page 240. Come on, y'all. What I'm showing y'all is that there was a conspiracy. These heathens knew that if you can remove the Apocrypha from this Bible, or the 14 books, they can manipulate the teachings of the New Testament. That's what happened. Christianity is a complete manipulation of the intertestamental period. You need the Greek captivity to bridge the gap between the old and new. You cannot read the New Testament without reading the Old. And the Maccabees' history is part of the Old Testament. It's part of the Old. It's not new, it's old. And it leads into the new. Because when you read Maccabean history, it mentions Rome. And how they start, and how they were conquering the Greeks. When they were a republic at the time. They were a republic at the time. All right, so let's go to page 240 of the Bible Atlas. All right, 240 of that. All right, you got it? Huh? Oh, all of those pages? I'll get angry now. All right.
Killing Deacon today, man.
You're killing me today, man. You're killing me.
Wow.
So I had this. All right. So let's go to.
See, that makes only your fault, Officer Jez.
Yeah. Daniel, give me Daniel. Oh, God. Give me Daniel. It ain't meant to be. Give me Daniel 11. And we're going to read verse 19.
Dig in.
Y'all got it? All right. God. I'm about to just skip it altogether, man. All right. All praises. All right. So, this is just the Bible Atlas, Holman's quick source. Just build us, y'all. Build us today. We just got back. It's been a while. I guess the vid is in here too. I don't know what's going on. The computer's got vid too. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, Bible Atlas with charts and biblical reconstructions. I suggest you get it. It's a very good read. Very good stuff in there. And what's it talk about? What's it show? What are you seeing? The intertestamental history. Now remember, Nelson's called it the intertestamental period or history. It's the same thing. Okay? It is the books that are contained in the Apocrypha. The word Apocrypha means what? Hidden. Who the hell's hiding it? All right? It's called hidden books or secret books. All right? And the Catholics, they maintain the validity of these books in the Catholic Bibles. I have the Catholic Bible. And when you read the Catholic Bible, these books are in them. Esdras, 2nd Esdras, 1st Esdras, Susanna, Judith, Maccabees. It's in Catholic Bibles. Okay? Matter of fact, there's a video that Deacon Abiel had shown. I'm going to send it to y'all. I'm going to show it to y'all now. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to share something real quick. Because I've always told y'all, that Esau has our records in the Vatican and the Smithsonian. So I'm going to share something real quick. Hold on. No, it's in the, hold on a second. Give me one moment. The quiet talk. Do a labo.
I think I did put that up for the video.
Did you?
Yeah, remember? Yeah, you see it? I put it the other day with Deacon Abiel.
I'm gonna drop it right now.
Yeah,
I want the actual. I don't Abiel one. I want the actual one.
Oh no.
Oh, you got that? Okay, that's the one I put up. Yeah, all praises. Israel, you see the truth is coming out. History is coming out. Support the truth. All right, just follow our page and help us push out the truth. So it's undeniable. The books are coming out, match up with the scriptures, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. So take heed, take notes, get your Bible, pens, and those are you brothers and sisters that's on the chat. Don't get into no back and forth with scoffers online.
You do not, because they're stupid.
All right.
All right. They can call. Listen, they can call on the show or ask a question on the comments. I already give the number. 267. The number again. 267. 702-6121. Don't scoff. Call. You wanna embarrass yourself, do it efficiently. Just do it for everybody to see.
That's right.
I sent to y'all in a group me. I sent to y'all.
The scripture came immediately. You ready, Dick?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I
You
sent them
Okay,
already.
never mind.
Yeah, go ahead and click that. I'm gonna show y'all that this man, these scholars know about the intertestamental period. They know about it. We're gonna jump into scriptures now. Daniel 11. And what Daniel's doing in Daniel 11 is he's giving you the history of the intertestamental period. That's what he's doing.
And that's one of the reasons too they cannot deny.
Unavailable? All right, so play IBLs. That's fine.
And that's why they cannot deny the Apocrypha.
They cannot.
Because it's already recorded and done. That's already recorded.
Yep. Load up. He might have the whole thing on anyway. Deacon Abiel took it and shared it. I'm all praise. I'm glad he shared because now it's unavailable. So Deacon Abiel took it and shared it. So all praises. We got this at least.
Yeah, I was looking for the whole thing. I couldn't find it.
It's unavailable now. I guess they probably took it down. You know, damage control. Too late. We got it already. Sorry. Blow it up. You got it? Got it.
The Israelites been telling y'all this for years.
God taught us a lot of things, and I studied the Bible very, very well for a lot of years. And I went to every religion on earth that I could go to.
Pause.
I've been to...
This man said he studied the Bible for many years, and he studied many religions. He studied many religions. So you got Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam. He knows all that stuff. Not some regular white dude. This guy's upper echelon scholar. That means he obviously knows about archaeology. He knows about anthropology, geography. He knows all these things. You have to know these things. So he says, I've studied the Bible for years. In every other religion he studied. Watch this.
I know. I've sat with the Buddhists. I've been all over this world. When I was in intelligence with the government...
Pause.
When they
Pause.
Yeah, yep.
When I was with intelligence with the government, when he was with the CIA,
Yep.
when I was with intelligence with the government, we're going to see which religion he dealt with. Because remember, he studied all religions of the world, right? He sat with Buddhists. He dealt with Hindus. He dealt with imams, obviously Muslims, right? Voodoo, whatever the hell, right? Catholic, whatever, right? So he said he dealt with the Central Intelligence. That's what he dealt with. The government, right? Watch this.
Thing that dealt with religion, they sent me.
Pause. Right. Whatever dealt with religion, they sent him. Hopefully this is the truth. Hopefully he's a real person. This is true. It's not some nonsense. I believe it's accurate. It's factual. Whoever when it came to religion, they dealt with him. He was the guy they went to. Go ahead.
He's a jackal of the religion.
Right. Go ahead.
They sent me into the basement of the Vatican.
Pause. They sent him into the basement of the Vatican. I told y'all this years ago, that they have our records in our history. When they burned Jerusalem down, Rome, they saved some of our stuff. There's an ark of Titus, and it shows us sketched into the ark of Titus with them carrying our scrolls out of the temple. Our menorahs, our scrolls being carried out, not burned, carried out. I mean, they kept them. All the lineages, the records of our forefathers, the lineage, all that stuff, they have it. The Vatican has it. He said in the basement. Because you can visit the Vatican, but the Vatican has under levels. They have levels, floors of records, floors of ancient artifacts. Our ancient artifacts. So the Vatican, and what I mentioned before, aside from this, is the Smithsonian. Also, we visited is the Library of Congress. That's the handwritten artifacts that we've come across. For you stupid ass niggas that come on there and talk about Native Americans are not Israelites. You don't know what we know. You haven't seen what we've seen. Read what we've read. We got books that's older than America in our libraries, in our libraries. Personal. Books that predate America 200 years about Native Americans being Israelites. Before that barren straight garbage, we have these things. You don't know a damn thing. Arguing about some damn stones. Anyway, continue. I'm digressing. Go ahead.
with a group of people to look at the lost scrolls.
Pause. So it's not just him. He said with a group of people, they went down to the Vatican basement to look at the lost scrolls. Is the lost scrolls of Buddhism? The lost scrolls of Hinduism? The lost scrolls of Islam, maybe, right? Because he studied all religions. They're all important, right? In terms of the government, right? Watch this.
And we brought out, the United States government brought out of the basement the Maccabees.
Pause. Of all the books to bring out of the Vatican, why the Bible? Why the Maccabees? Why? Why Maccabees? That book is the intertestamental period. The Vatican, because the Vatican is the mother of all modern Christian churches. And all modern Christian churches teach against the Apocrypha except the Catholic Church. That's the evil behind it. The Vatican has the Apocrypha or the Maccabean history in their vaults, in their basements. But the denominations of the Catholic Church remove those books and manipulate the New Testament to say, see, Greeks is white people. The Greeks and Grecians are other nations. No, they're not. They're Jews. That is the gap between the old and new that is removed deceitfully from the modern Christian church, which is a child of the Catholic Church. So he's saying we took out the books of Maccabees because they know that book lets you know who Paul was talking about in the Gospels.
That's a setup, bro.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Continue.
And then,
Esther.
one second.
Hold on.
And he also said the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell the United States government doing in the Vatican, which is in Rome?
And why did we read the Maccabees?
Right.
Why does the government have any interest in Maccabees? For what? That's old age history. Why does the government have any concern about Maccabees? Because the Maccabean book, that book is the representation of black liberation from white supremacy. That's what it is.
And also reveal who they are.
And it reveals who they are. Yes, it does. It tells you that's when evils will multiply in the earth.
Yep.
It tells you that. When we came into power, that's this time here, Maccabees. The government is reading its own history out of the Bible. They didn't go to Buddha. They didn't go to Hindu, Vishnu. They didn't go to Allah. They went to the Bible. Read and watch. Continue.
The United States government brought out of the basement the Maccabees. Esther, the wisdom of Solomon.
Pause. Jeez.
Damn.
Esther. Not Esther the Bible. Esther in the Apocrypha. Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha. Why? Watch. Read on.
Books of the Bible that weren't in the Bible.
Pause. Books of the Bible that weren't in the Bible. That's the intertestamental period. That's the Apocrypha. Why is the government having any interest in the Apocrypha? Because the Apocrypha records America's existence. The Apocrypha records the Native Americans' existence on this side of the world. They know that. And the Israelites out there teaching it every single week all over the world. So the government's like, you know what? These niggas is right. Let's research. Let's go to the Vatican. Let's go into the actual scrolls, not the Bibles they have. Let's go to the actual writings from the Maccabees themselves, from the scribes who wrote that time. Let's read the actual letters of the Maccabees and let's see if there's any validity to what they're saying. And guess what? There is. That's why they're coming together to form this new world religion now. Because the Israelites are becoming more and more dangerous. So they got to research these things. Watch what he says. Continue. Watch.
Brought out of the basement the Maccabees. Esther, the wisdom of Solomon. Many books of the Bible that weren't in the Bible.
Pause. Many books is Esdras. Second Esdras. Baruch. Second Maccabees. Wisdom of Solomon. Ecclesiasticus. The rest of three holy children.
Judith.
Judith.
Tobit.
Tobit. That's what he's talking about. The rest of the books that weren't in the Bible, that's the 14. In the Catholic Bibles, I have one. The Catholic Bibles, they have all of those in their Bibles.
Yep.
But they won't let other denomination Christian versions have it because they know the danger of it. They said, nah, only we know the validity of these books, but the rest of the Christians, you get 66. We'll get the 80, you get 66.
And one of the reasons too, Dick, if I may, because majority of our people are in this denomination. Because when you read about between the Greek and the Jews, that would explain, that would be a little more clarified about who the Jews and the Gentiles were.
Right, in the New Testament. Yes. Continue.
Wisdom of Solomon. Many books of the Bible that weren't in the Bible.
Oh, so she said, wow. So the audience? That audience is not involving Negroes. I'm gonna prove it to you. That audience is an audience of other scholars that are studying what he already knows. This is a close-knit circle. It's not some open forum for all Negroes and brown people can come there and sit down amongst the white folks and go, oh, wow, I want to learn with you. No, it's not for you. No. This is called esoteric meetings. Knowledge known by few people. That's what this is. Esoteric meetings. Okay? What? Continue.
And there's many more down there.
There's more. God! There's many more down there.
So our whole history is in
It's in there. They have it.
They have our history.
They have it.
Yeah.
Continue.
Many more. The Catholic Church suppressed us like you wouldn't believe.
Pause.
Damn.
The Catholic Church suppressed the world through Christianity. That's how. And the us is not necessarily them. It's us they suppressed. Us, the people of God. Us they suppressed. Read on.
So many things hidden from us. There are books of the Bible that reveal exactly what is happening in this world today.
Pause.
What's
Yo,
the bomb?
Jesus
What's the bomb,
Christ.
man? Stop a bomb for that.
You know what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said?
Drop a bomb, man.
Rewind that and play that part again, if you can.
Hey, you sound nervous.
Yeah.
You sound very
They're
nervous.
always nervous.
Be like, I know I'm going to get killed for this right there.
Play it. Jeez.
Us like you wouldn't believe. They kept so many things hidden from us. There are books of the Bible that reveal exactly what is happening in this world today. And we recorded it.
Pause. And what he said we did? We recorded it. Like Israel waking up, space travel, the conquest of the new world, the technology advancing today, the nuclear bombs. They recorded it.
The chariot.
The chariots,
Right.
they recorded it. I showed y'all a long time ago in the video where they have a government record. I showed y'all a government document where they called the chariot, UFO, the wheel in the wheel. In the Zechariah. Is the article has Zechariah on it. Zechariah 5? The little roll, called the flying roll. It was called the document, the government document is called the flying roll. They know what's going on. You people on the comment board that's scoffing and scorning, we don't give a damn about you.
You better shut your black lips.
Or white lips. We know.
You better shut your white mouth.
Thank you. We know. You know, whenever you see a bunch of black folks on, who are intelligent, you feel threatened by that, so you want to make a comment. And that's fine, but continue. Let's get the scripture soon. Go ahead.
Yes. And anyway, I'll go into some more.
Oh,
now-
go back. So he says, lastly, go back. Right there.
And anyway, I'll go into some more.
Oh, now
Oh,
y'all.
see, that's all about the whole video. He says, I'll go into some more off camera, he says.
Yeah.
He says, I'll go into some more off camera. Because that understanding that he had in the Vatican, he's going to share with them. And I guarantee there were no black, if there were any black or brown faces in that audience, they were stupid as hell. They have no idea what he's talking about. If there were any. I doubt there were any brown or black faces in that audience. I doubt it. Because black folks are not into this stuff. We are. And they know we are. We're a problem to them. Now, let's get Daniel 11.
I
And-
was going to read Psalm 64.
Oh, you read that? Yeah.
Yeah, basically exactly what he just
Yeah, we
we
read that.
just
yeah,
see.
Yep. Oh, yeah, the God in the Vatican. Right, yeah, read that, yeah.
This is Psalms chapter 64 and verse 8.
Verse 6.
Verse 6.
Yeah.
They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search.
So you just heard it from his mouth. He searched all the religion,
Yep.
searched everywhere. Go ahead.
Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
It's deep. So now they know exactly the truth. They know exactly which of the so-called religious is valid. So that's why they're hiding our books, our history. They don't care about the other books. Go ahead.
But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded.
Go ahead. Let's see.
They shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves.
Right.
That's what he's doing. They're going to tell themselves.
Yep.
All that see them shall flee away.
Right. So that's what's happening right now.
Right. So what you're seeing is, what you just heard is their tongue falling on themselves. He's telling on himself. He's making it known that the intertestamental history is valid. Dad, go back to that now. Did we read it? Blow it up. Read that.
Start from top.
Yep. Shortly after.
Shortly after 600 BC, the Babylonians captured Jerusalem, destroyed the temple,
Second temple.
and took away many of the people as
No,
captives.
first temple. Destroyed the first temple. Wow. First temple. Rome destroyed the second temple. First temple. Go ahead.
And took away many of the people as captives.
Right.
After Cyrus overcame the Babylonian Empire, the Jews who desired were allowed to return.
Right. During Zerubbabel, Joshua, Ezra, Nehemiah's time. Malachi's time. So that it goes from Babylon, now we're in Persia now. Go ahead.
The temple was rebuilt
Right. Now that's the second temple we built. Go ahead.
under the leadership of Nehemiah and Ezra.
Right.
The Jewish religious community established itself, and the worship and life of the people continued.
Go ahead.
Here, Old Testament history ends,
See that? Here, Old Testament history ends with Malachi. Watch this.
and the intertestamental period begins.
What begins that? Watch.
The history of the intertestamental period can be divided into three sections.
What's that?
The Greek period, 323 to 167 BC.
Alexander.
The period of independence, 167 to 63 BC.
Maccabees. Go ahead.
And the Roman period, 63 BC through the time of the New Testament.
That's Pompey. General Pompey yo, listen. That's New Testament right there. So I'm showing you that you must read Maccabees to know when it says Greeks and Grecians, who it's talking about in the New Testament. These people have this in the Vatican, Smithsonian. They know what we say in the streets is true. Ignorant Negroes and black and ignorant brown people don't know what we're talking about, but the scholars, the historians, they know we speak is truth. You mentioned Obadiah, like, oh man, they know about that? Malachi, they know about Malachi? Maccabees, how you know about Maccabees?
First and second Esdras.
Right.
Second Esdras, you know? Native Americans and Israelites, who taught you that?
It mentioned us. The fourth beast was the eagle.
Right.
In Daniel.
Right. I know that stuff. This the intertestamental period. Now, Daniel 11 now. Thank you, y'all. Daniel 11, verse 19.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 19. Then he shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land.
This is Antiochus III, the Great. This is Antiochus III, the Great. Go ahead.
But he shall stumble and fall and not be
He
found.
will return home and eventually he'll die. Now, let's go to 2 Maccabees 1. We're going to read verse 11 to 17. We're going to see how he died.
2 Maccabees.
So this Antiochus III the Great is the father of Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Now, scholars go, oh, the Apocrypha is not valid because Antiochus died 3 different ways. Because I don't research anything, because you're stupid. You heathens, a lot of you sit there, or you'll put those lies out there to defend the Apocrypha so no one accepts it. But the Apocrypha, or the Maccabean history within the Apocrypha, is valid. I've thoroughly researched this thing, so I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm going to prove to y'all that this book, the Apocrypha, is valid history. We're going to read verse 11 to 17.
2 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 11. Insomuch as God hath delivered us from great perils, we thank him highly, as having been in battle against a king.
Against a king is going into Antiochus Epiphanes. Okay, watch this.
For he cast them out that fought within the holy city.
Meaning that's when we managed to dedicate the temple. We cleansed the city of the heathens, got them out. So this is the after. So it's Maccabees here is pretty much like the aftermath of what we did in terms of getting the temple cleansed and keeping the feast of dedication. When you read earlier. But watch this. Read.
For when the leader was coming to Persia.
The leader was coming to Persia is referring to Antiochus the Great, the third. Antiochus Epiphanes' father, who was the fourth. Antiochus the third, this is the third here, the great. Go ahead.
And the army with him that seemed invincible.
He had a very invincible and powerful army with him when he entered into Persia, this place in Persia. Go ahead.
That they were slain in the temple of Nania by the deceit of Nania's priests.
So the priests allowed Antiochus and his men, the army, to enter into this temple by deception. They planned on killing him. Go ahead.
For Antiochus, as though he would marry her.
Marry her is referring to the god in the temple as in Nania. There's this weird thing with idolatry where people would pretty much marry idols. So they're saying basically it's weirdos. These heathens are weirdos. So it's saying he went into the temple as though he would marry her. Watch this, the idol. Go ahead.
For Antiochus, as though he would marry her, came into the place.
The temple.
And his friends that were with him.
And men that were with him. Go ahead.
To receive money in the name of a dowry.
To receive money. So he said, oh, she's my wife. So since Nania is my wife, I deserve money from her. Because the temple had mad gold in it. Gold, riches, silver, all kinds of stuff. He was trying to basically steal. So he came in and said, oh, I come to honor Nania and to marry her. And since she's my wife, I want the money. When the priests caught on to the game, they caught the game. Go ahead.
Which when the priest of Nania had set forth, and he was entered with a small company into the compass of the temple.
So Antiochus III entered into the temple with a small group of his military. Small group of them. Go ahead.
They shut the temple as soon as Antiochus was come in.
As soon as Antiochus III came in, they closed the door behind him. Go ahead.
And opening a privy door of the roof, they threw stones like thunderbolts and struck down the captain.
Killed this captain.
Hewn them in pieces.
Cut their body parts in pieces, including Antiochus III. Go ahead.
Smote off their heads.
Cut their heads off.
And cast them to those that were without.
And threw it to his men outside the temple. So Antiochus III was killed this way. Antiochus Epiphanes, his father, was killed this way. Now in my Bible, it says next to a king is referring to Antiochus Epiphanes. He didn't die that way. His father did. It's historically documented that his father died in a temple. That's him here. The author of this Maccabees is recording the history of Antiochus III's death, not the fourth's. This is Antiochus III's death. I'm gonna prove it now. I should have sent to y'all. 1 second. Sent to y'all right now. I just want this phone. Hold on. Watch this. I'm going to send it to y'all right now. I just sent it to y'all. Open that up. It should be classic.net.bible. And then I'm going to go to another one. Need some more stuff. Hold on. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Some more stuff. Hold on. That's it. All right, so we're going to go to Antiochus the Great first. So go to the Google link I sent y'all first. We'll go there first. I typed in Google, Antiochus III died in Nania. You see it? Yes, now go to people who ask. Does it say, how did Antiochus III die? You see it? Yes, click that, blow it up. What does it say? Read that for me, Manny?
How did Antiochus III die?
So I typed to myself, how did Antiochus III die? Right? Watch what it says.
His kingdom was now reduced to Syria, Mesopotamia, and western Iran. In 187, Antiochus was murdered in a Baal temple near Susa.
He was murdered in a Baal temple near Susa. Go ahead.
Where he was exacting tribute in order to obtain much needed revenue.
He was trying to take money. As remember, it said dowry, as though he was married. He would marry her. Remember that? No, but it says a Baal temple, right? Now go to Susa. I sent y'all a link. Next link I sent you says Susa. Where is Susa located? Read that. What does it say? Susa is what?
Iran.
Susa is Iran. And Iran is Persia. Iran is Persia. It's called, remember you read it in Daniel, it's called Daniel. Esther. Shushan the palace. That's Susa. Same place. Shushan the palace. Susa, Iran, Persia. Same place. Now, go to the next one I sent you. Bible.net regarding, it's to see Nania. Load up some. I don't need the left side. Move that out the way if you can. If not, just read it as is.
Nania, a female deity worshipped by the Assyrians.
Worshipped by the Assyrians originally. Go ahead.
Babylonians.
Babylonians worshipped her also.
And Persians.
Persians worshipped her also. The Persians worshipped Babylonian gods. Go ahead.
And other Asiatic peoples. The Nana.
Moab, Ammon, Asiatic peoples.
Or Nani.
Look at Israel too. Go ahead.
Or Nani of the Babylonians, known as the Lady of Babylon.
Known as the Lady of Babylon or Statue of Liberty. Same thing. Aphrodite, Diana. It's the same thing. Same God. Goddess, Queen of Heaven. As Easter. Same God. Go ahead.
Beyonce too? Nah, let me stop.
Yeah, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B. They're the Negro embodiment of this goddess here.
Right.
I'm a diva. That's the spirit you take on. This right here. Watch. You're going to say it.
The name means the undefiled.
She's the undefiled. That's what it means. Go ahead.
And probably represented originally the productive powers of nature.
Meaning vagina. Go ahead.
Genetrix.
Genetrix. Go ahead.
Genetrix. And as such was the companion of the sun god.
She was a companion or wife of the sun god. Going back to Baal, going back to Ashtoreth, same pagan trinity. Go ahead. Tammuz. Go ahead.
She was identified with Ishtar.
She was identified with who?
With Ishtar.
That's Easter. That's your Easter. Same God, same BS, different name. Go ahead.
Oh, today called Virgin Mary.
Yeah, today's called Virgin Mary, right? Yeah, go ahead.
She was identified with Ishtar in Assyria and Ashtoreth in Phoenicia.
See, in Phoenicia, that's Israel. Israel's worship that God. Go ahead.
By the Greeks as Aphrodite.
And the Greeks called her Aphrodite. Go ahead.
But sometimes as Artemis.
Right, the Egyptians called her Isis. The Egyptians called her Isis or Artemis. Go ahead.
The huntress.
The huntress.
Strabo identifies her with Anitis.
Okay.
The Asian Artemis.
Okay, go ahead.
She was the Venus.
She was Venus. Same goddess. Go ahead. That's this one here, she's Semiramis. This is Nimrod's mother. That's what she is. Deified version of Nimrod's mother / wife. Go ahead.
But sometimes the Diana.
Sometimes the what?
But sometimes the Diana.
Of the Ephesians. It's the same thing. It's the feminist god. Go ahead.
Of the Romans.
Of the Romans. Go ahead.
There are many variants of the name. Anania, Anitis, Tanias.
You do your best. It's all right.
And Tana.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes in Phoenicia inscriptions.
Go ahead.
Tanita, Anta. In 2 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 13.
Here we go.
A fictitious account is given of the death of Antiochus Epiphanes.
Now it says a fictitious account regarding Epiphanes, but it's not Epiphanes that's being killed here. He didn't die that way. Watch. It's going to say it. It gives you, it says a fictitious account. So when you read it, you go, oh, it's a lie. So that right there gives you the invalidating or defaming of the Maccabees right there. See, Antiochus died in this way, but he dies another way in different chapters of the Maccabees. So it's false. Watch what they do here. Watch.
in a temple of Nania in Persia.
See, it says he died in the temple of Nania in Persia. See, watch this.
By the treachery of Nania's priests.
Right.
The public treasury was often placed in Nania's temple.
All that money was there. Remember I said earlier, he died doing what? Raiding a temple of Baal to collect revenue. Remember that? To fight against the Romans pretty much. Go ahead.
This Epiphanes was anxious to secure under the pretext of marrying the goddess and receiving the money as dowry.
Come on.
The priest threw down great stones like thunderbolts from above.
Did that earlier.
Killed the king and his state, and then cut off their heads.
And doom out to those who were without. Go ahead.
But 1 Maccabees 1, which is more reliable, gives a different account of the death of Epiphanes.
Right.
After an attempt to rob a rich temple in Elymas.
Right, that's in 1 Maccabees 6 and 2 Maccabees 9. That account is accurate, but they're saying that this account in 2 Maccabees is inaccurate because he didn't die that way, with his head getting cut off. But watch this.
The account of 2 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 13.
The account of 2 Maccabees 1:13
must be mere legend.
Must be mere legend. So we're going back to what? Fictitious, right? Watch this.
As far as Epiphanes is concerned.
As far as Antiochus IV is concerned, it's fictitious. But watch this.
But may have been suggested or colored.
May have been suggested or colored to what?
By the story of the death of Antiochus the Great.
His father. His father. It's not fictitious. It's referring to his father being killed. Not him. Go ahead.
Who meet his death while plundering a temple of Belers.
Baal. In Google, I showed you earlier. Go ahead.
Near Elymas.
Near Elymas. Elymas is Elamias. Elam Minor. That's Persia too. Elymas is Elam Minor. That is still Persia or Iran. Go ahead.
The temple of Nania, referred to in 2 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 13, may be identified with that of Artemis or Aphrodite.
That's it?
That's it, sir.
So, Antiochus III the Great is who the 2 Maccabees is referring to. 113, not Antiochus IV. 2 Maccabees 1, verse 13 to 17 is in reference to the death of Antiochus III. Antiochus Epiphanes' father, not Antiochus Epiphanes IV. Okay? So, hope you understand that. So, that's how Antiochus III died. And when he died, his son took over. Seleucus IV Philopator took over, who's in Daniel 11. Go back to that now. We know what we're talking about. You're not going to sit up here and try to defame the Apocrypha and try to invalidate it. Oh, no, it's not historically sound. Yes, it is. It is.
Verse 19, sir?
Yep.
Daniel chapter 11, verse 19.
Yep.
Then he shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found.
Right, because he will be killed, eventually killed, return to his land, try to collect money some other way. He tried to conquer a certain part of land, and the Roman commander, Lucius Cornelius Scipio, stopped him. So he sought money elsewhere. Where? That temple of Artemis, who's the wife of Baal, or Belus. That same temple in Susa, where he was killed at. All right? So now, give me Daniel 11 and 20.
Daniel chapter 11 and verse 20. Then shall stand up in his estate a raiser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom. But within few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle.
The raiser of taxes is Antiochus' son, Seleucus IV Philopator. He's the raiser of taxes. Ridiculous raiser of taxes. Also, I mentioned him being a raiser of taxes. His taxes are ridiculous. Seleucus IV Philopator. Seleucus IV Philopator. Now, give me 2 Maccabees 3, verse 1 to 3.
2 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 1. Now when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well, because of the godliness of Onias the high priest.
Now, what I'm showing y'all here is the history that takes place before Mattathias, before the Maccabean family. This goes into that. All right, read on.
and his hatred of wickedness. It came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts, insomuch that Seleucus, king of Asia, of his own revenues, bare all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices.
Seleucus is Seleucus Philopator. All right? Still the same guy. Go ahead.
But one, Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city.
Yeah, he had a beef because he was causing problems. Men under him were causing problems. Go ahead.
And when he could not overcome Onias, he gat him to Apollonius, the son of Thracius, who then was governor of Seleucia in Phoenice, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hand. Now when Apollonius
So he told basically the king, listen, you remember the kings are raising their taxes. He said, listen, in the temple, there's mad money in there. They got a whole bunch of money in there, a vault of money we had. We did have money in the temple. We did. But it was not for consumption. It was for temple services, sacrifices and things of that nature. But this guy, Simon, Benjamite, told the king, yeah, they got money in there. They're hiding money from you. Go ahead. Traitor, right? He was evil as hell. He was a traitor. He had beef with Onias. Go ahead.
Now when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus.
So the king sent out Heliodorus. Seleucus IV Philopator sent out Heliodorus. Go ahead.
His treasurer.
To a tax collector. Go ahead.
And sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money.
The money that's found in the temple. Go ahead. That does not belong to him. Go ahead.
So forthwith, Heliodorus took his journey under color of visiting the cities of Seleucia and Phoenice.
So he took his journey under the guise of, I'm just visiting, just visiting lands and so forth. He was trying to get intel or secretly survey the temple. Go ahead.
But indeed, to fulfill the king's purpose.
Right, to fulfill the king's commandment of trying to see if there's money in the temple that they're hiding. We were hiding. Go ahead.
And when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city,
Onias,
he told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed.
So he asked Onias, is it true you guys got money in that temple? All this money I'm hearing about? Go ahead.
Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children.
Right, we took care of women whose husbands died and fatherless children. We took care of our people. That money was for them. It was not for you. That's public assistance.
Yeah.
That money in the temple was public assistance. We provided our own public assistance. We didn't need the white man. We didn't need WIC, food stamps, government cheese. We had our own money set aside for those who were in need.
That's right.
Who were fatherless or husbandless. Go ahead.
And that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not as that wicked Simon had misinformed.
It was also used as a bank. He goes, that money belongs to a man named Hyrcanus. Hyrcanus, go ahead.
The sum whereof,
Hyrcanus, go ahead.
The sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold.
It's a lot of money. Go ahead.
And that it was altogether impossible that such wrongs should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place and to the majesty and inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world.
Go ahead.
But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury.
So we explained to him, listen, the money that's in this temple does not belong to you. It belongs to the holiness of the temple itself, to the God. It belongs to the God that visits it. It doesn't belong to you. The king Heliodorus said, listen, man, I want that money. We're going to take that money one way or the other. That's what he's telling him. Go ahead.
So at the day which he appointed, he entered into order this matter, wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city.
So he decided to go and basically bombard himself, but basically force himself into the temple. He wasn't supposed to go in there. Go ahead, and people start bugging out. But that money is to help the people. Go ahead.
But the priests, prostrating themselves before the altar in their priests' vestments, called unto heaven upon him that made a law concerning things given to be kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept.
So the priest laid on the floor and prayed to God, listen, God, don't let this happen. This stuff is set up to help our people, and it's also according to your commandment. It should not be touched. It's supposed to be saved and used for the purpose it's left there for. Don't let this happen. The priests prayed in their vestments, don't let this happen. Go ahead.
Verse 16, then whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart, for his countenance and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind.
We were in pain. We were hurting. Like, yo, listen, don't take our money. This money doesn't belong to you. They were sad. They were terrified. Go ahead.
For the man was so compassed with fear and horror of the body that it was manifest to them that looked upon him what sorrow he had now in his heart.
Go ahead.
Others ran, flocking out of their houses to the general supplication, because the place was like to come into contempt.
Being stolen from, robbed. Go ahead.
And the women, girt with sackcloth under their breasts, abounded in the streets, and the virgins that were kept in ran, some to the gates and some to the walls, and others looked out of the windows. And all, holding their hands toward heaven, made supplication.
We're all praying. Go ahead.
Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony.
Come on.
Then they called upon the Almighty God to keep things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them.
Watch this.
Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed.
Seeing all our people crying, sad, mourning, and he's like, I don't care. I'll come to collect. Go ahead.
Now, as he was there, present himself with the guard, with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits and the Prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of God, and fainted and were sore afraid.
So he went into the temple, he saw an apparition, and the men that were with him, they passed out. They saw it and they fainted. What did they see? Go ahead.
For there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with his forefeet.
So the horse, this man was on a horse, and the horse he was riding on kicked Heliodorus with his forefeet, knocked Heliodorus on his behind. Go ahead.
And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him.
These are angels. 2 other. So now you got 3. 2 other young men appeared before him. Heliodorus, go ahead.
Notable in strength.
Notable in strength. They didn't look weak. They were built. They looked strong as hell. Go ahead.
Excellent in beauty.
And they were pretty, go ahead, handsome, go ahead.
And comely in apparel.
And their garments was glorious. Right, yeah. Glorious. Go ahead.
Who stood by him.
And not only were they built, not only were they dressed glorious, their horses were too. Go ahead.
Who stood by them on either side.
So you had a man in the front and 2 on the side. 3, go ahead.
And scourged him continually.
And they started beating Heliodorus' ass. They started to beat him. Go ahead.
And gave him many sore stripes.
And he had wounds. They started whipping him, beating him up.
Whoop his ass.
Beating him all over the place. He's getting jumped by angels.
That's right.
He's getting jumped by angels. Go ahead.
And Heliodorus fell suddenly into the ground and was compassed with great darkness.
So he's surrounded in darkness, so no one can see what's happening, but he's getting his ass beat the whole time. Just getting beat in the dark, he's getting beat in the dark room. Go ahead.
But they that were with him took him up and put him into a litter.
Those that were with him took him and put him into a gurney, basically. Go ahead.
Thus him that lately came with a great train and with all his guard into the said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons. And manifestly, they acknowledged the power of God.
They realized God is in here. That's right. We can't touch this place. Go ahead.
That's right.
For he, by the hand of God, was cast down and lay speechless without all hope of life.
He was dying. He got beat to the brink of death. Go ahead.
But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place. For the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, when the Almighty Lord appeared, was filled with joy and gladness.
They were happy that that guy got beat up and carried out the temple. Go ahead.
Then straightways certain of Heliodorus' friends prayed Onias that he would call upon the Most High to grant him his life, who lay ready to give up the ghost.
Who was dying. Go ahead.
So the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done
Treachery
had been done to Heliodorus by the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man.
So Onias said, listen, if this guy returns back to the king in this condition, they'll think that, we have beef with the king. Because Israel understood that the Greeks have power. They can beat, they can overthrow us. So for the sake of the people, I'll heal this man. So I won't have beef with the king. Because remember, the king was giving him money, funding the temple, all of that stuff. Because Onias was a righteous man. He was highly respected, even among the Greeks. So he said, you know one thing, to maintain that order, to maintain that respect with the king, I'll heal Heliodorus. Go ahead.
Now as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Heliodorus.
Wait, stop. So as he's sending up prayers for Heliodorus to be healed, the three men that beat his ass show up standing behind Onias while he's praying for his healing. Go ahead.
Saying, give Onias the high priest great thanks.
You should thank this man. Right. You should thank this man. Go ahead.
In so much as for his sake the Lord hath granted
The
thee
reason
life.
why you're allowed to live is because this man is asking us to let you live. Otherwise, you die right now. Go ahead.
And seeing that thou hast been scourged from heaven.
You got a beat down from God. God whipped your behind. Go ahead.
Declare unto all men.
Let everybody know about this ass whooping you got from God. Go ahead.
The mighty power of God. And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more.
They vanished. Go ahead.
So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto the Lord, and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Onias.
Thanks, Onias. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you, sir. See you later. Go ahead. I'm out. Go ahead.
Returned with his host to the king.
Returned back to the king after he got beaten and healed up. Go ahead.
Then testified he to all men the works of the great God, which he had seen with his eyes.
Watch this.
And when the king asked Heliodorus, who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, if thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. For in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of God.
You gonna send somebody there to collect money? Send somebody over there you don't like.
Yeah, you hate.
A traitor, a criminal, because they're gonna get beat or die over there.
That's right.
God is there. There's a power there of God. Go ahead.
For he that dwelleth in heaven hath his eye on that place.
He that dwells in heaven has his eye on that place. Go ahead.
And defendeth it.
And defends it. Go ahead.
And he beateth and destroyeth them that come to hurt it.
And he beats and destroys them that come to hurt it or his people. So when Christ returns, what's he going to do? Beat and destroy those who've hurt his people and defend us. That's another topic, though. Go ahead.
I like that part, man. He beat them.
Beat and destroy. Beat and destroy. Manny.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Verse 40. And the things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this source.
And the things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this sort. So Heliodorus had a falling out with the king based upon the situation regarding the raiser of taxes. What happened? Get me Wikipedia.
I ain't going there no more. You crazy?
Wikipedia and go to give me Seleucus Philopator.
Yo, you said I saw a man.
Seleucus Philopator. Philopator means love of my father. Philopator. Philopator.
Yo, you said I saw a man on a horse.
Go to Daniel again.
Terrible. I ain't going there no more.
I ain't going back there again. Send somebody that you hate.
Verse 19 again, Deacon.
Hold on. I want verse, come on. 11 verse 20.
Daniel chapter 11, verse 20.
No. Wait. 11. 20, yes.
Daniel chapter 11 and verse 20. Then shall stand up in his estate
His estate is Antiochus III's estate. Go ahead.
a raiser of taxes
Seleucus the fourth Philopator. Go ahead.
in the glory of the kingdom.
Remember, he's a raiser of taxes. Watch this.
But within few days
Within a few days,
he shall be destroyed,
he shall be killed,
neither in anger
not based upon not fighting someone. Go ahead.
nor in battle.
Nor in battle. He won't die that way. He'll die a different kind of way. Watch this. Read that.
And
That's all I want. Read this here. Seleucus
Seleucus the fourth
Philopator.
Philopator. Seleucus the fourth Philopator. 218 to
2-1.
September 3rd. To September 3rd. 175. Ruler of the Hellenistic Seleucid Empire.
Right. Go down. Go to the right side real quick. See who his father is. Go down. Predecessor, Antiochus III the Great. Successor, Antiochus. His successor is his son, Antiochus. Go down. Not to be confused with Antiochus the fourth. It's different than Antiochus. Go down to, hold on. Go to biography. Read birth and family.
Birth and family. He was the second son and successor of Antiochus III, the Great, and Laodice
III.
Laodice III. Seleucus IV wed his sister, Laodice.
He married his sister. That's something that they do. Married his sister. Go ahead.
The fourth. By whom he had 3 children. 2 sons, Antiochus.
Yeah, Antiochus. That's one.
And Demetrius the first.
He had Demetrius the first Soter. Keep that guy in mind. Demetrius the first Soter is a very important name to remember. Demetrius the first Soter. Go ahead.
And a daughter, Laodice the fifth.
And Laodice the fifth. Go ahead. Go down. Go down to reign.
Reign. In 187 BC, Antiochus died. After looting the temple of Baal.
And where?
After looting the temple of Baal and
Elamaeus. That's the same place. Nania, the priest of Nania, that killed him. Go ahead.
And Seleucus took over as Basileus. He renewed an alliance with the Achaean League.
Okay.
And almost joined in Pharenice, the first invasion of Galatia.
Watch this.
Before reconsidering and turning back. He also substituted his son Demetrius instead.
Stop. He also substituted his son Demetrius the first Soter. Watch this.
Instead of his brother, Antiochus the fourth.
Epiphanes. So, remember, we read earlier how Antiochus Epiphanes was held hostage at Rome because Antiochus the Great had made an alliance with Hannibal to help him overthrow Rome. And when it was found out, Romans basically, they taxed Antiochus the Great and said, listen, as collateral, or as ransom, we're going to hold your son ransom until you pay us back this money you owe us for coming against us. And where the hell is Hannibal at? You don't know where Hannibal is? No problem. We're gonna tax you or penalize you for this for aiding our rival, our enemy, Hannibal. And so therefore, we're going to hold your son captive until you pay off all this tax. So when Antiochus died, that debt was still inherited by his sons. So his son, Seleucus Philopator, it says he also did what? Substituted what?
He also substituted his son Demetrius.
So Seleucus took his son Demetrius, right, and put him in the hands of the Romans to get Antiochus, his brother, back from the Romans hostage. So now Demetrius is the new Roman hostage to pay back that tax, and Antiochus the fourth, Epiphanes, was set free. You understand? Go ahead.
He also substituted his son Demetrius instead of his brother Antiochus the fourth.
Epiphanes.
As a hostage in Rome.
See? So that's messed up. So the father gave his own son away in exchange for his brother. You understand? Now go to death. Keep that in mind, because Demetrius comes back with a vengeance for this. Demetrius didn't forget this. All right? Keep that in mind. Go ahead.
Death. In 175 BC, Seleucus was assassinated by Heliodorus.
Oh, look at that. He didn't die. He would not die by anger nor by battle. He would be assassinated. Daniel prophesied how he would die, not by anger or by battle, but he would be assassinated by who?
By Heliodorus,
His treasurer. Go ahead.
one of his leading bureaucrats,
Treasurers.
who was then replaced by Antiochus IV, with support from Pergamon, which was concerned about Rome following his recent disputes.
Right. The reason why is because he said, this guy got my ass beat by the angels. He's a raiser of tax. He's bugging out with this tax and stuff. So he killed Seleucus. Because he said, this guy's wild. This guy's covetous. He want money all the time. So he killed Seleucus. After that ass whooping he got from them angels. That's why it says in Maccabee, it says, go back to Maccabees again.
Yes, sir.
The last verse you read?
2 Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse
40.
40.
Watch this.
And the things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this sort.
Right, it fell out on this sort, meaning it fell out. I mean, that's how it happened, and because of that, he killed Seleucus. Without anger, he didn't die in anger fighting somebody. Seleucus didn't die in battle. He got killed by his own treasurer, assassinated by him, quiet and calmly. All right, so Daniel prophesied of his life and death in one verse. You can't make this up, bro. You can't make it up. This Bible's crazy. Now, let's go to, what time is it? 2:46. All right. So far we started off with Antiochus III the Great. He was killed in the temple of Artemis, or the temple of Baal, who's the wife of, who's the husband of Artemis. And then, of course, Antiochus left behind a son, Seleucus IV Philopator, and his brother Antiochus IV Epiphanes, and Seleucus IV Philopator had a son named Demetrius I Soter, who was put hostage in exchange for Antiochus being held hostage for a penalizing tax that their father was charged with for receiving help from Hannibal. All right, our brother, Hannibal, an Israelite brother. All right, of Carthage. Now let's get Wikipedia again. Click Antiochus. Go back and go at this again. Go up. Go to successor. Go to the right. Click that. Antiochus. This is Antiochus, the son of Seleucus. Not to be confused with his brother. Remember, his brother is Antiochus IV, the Epiphanes. That's his brother. Antiochus IV, the Epiphanes, is Seleucus' brother. So this Antiochus right here is Seleucus' son. So this is Antiochus Epiphanes' nephew. Okay, I'll tell you that same name again and again. So this Antiochus right here is Antiochus Epiphanes' nephew, his brother's son. Now see how long he lived. Read what it says.
Antiochus, son of Seleucus IV. Antiochus, 180 to 170 BC.
See how young he was? Keep going.
Was a Hellenistic monarch of the Seleucid Empire, reigning between 175 and 170
So when he
BC.
was 5, he became the king, right? So it says but only 5 years. So 175 to 170, he's little. He's a kid, right? Go down. Let me see that one. Hold on. You go to biography. Read that.
Antiochus' year of birth is not specified by ancient historians, but his portrait, known from his coin, indicate that he was approximately 5 years old when he assumed the throne in 175 BC.
Right. Go ahead.
He was the younger son of King Seleucus IV.
So he was born in 180. He became to reign 5 years later, 175, 5 years later, and he died. You'll see. Go ahead.
And his wife, Heliodorus IV. The empire was obligated by the 188 BC Treaty of Alchemy.
Apame.
Signed after King Antiochus III lost a war against the Romans.
Right, remember, because Antiochus III, his counselor was Hannibal. And when the Romans got word that Hannibal was his counselor, they came at his neck. And Hannibal escaped. They said, well, since you want to side with our enemy, we're going to tax your behind. And that taxing went from his death and inherited by his kids until it was paid off. Watch this.
To send a hostage to Rome.
To send their hostage until they know you'll pay that tax off or just kill your son. Go ahead.
At first, Antiochus' uncle, Antiochus IV, was sent as a hostage.
Right, at first, Antiochus' uncle, the little boy here's uncle, his father's brother was sent there as hostage. Go ahead. That's in 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 10. Remember, it says Antiochus, hostage at Rome. Go ahead.
After Antiochus III's death in 187 BC, Seleucus IV replaced his brother Antiochus IV with his own eldest son and heir, Demetrius I.
Demetrius I, he replaced, remember we read it earlier, he replaced Antiochus as a hostage with his own oldest son, Demetrius I, Soter. And he didn't like that too much. We're going to read that later on. Go ahead.
Since Rome considered it important that a son of the reigning king be a hostage.
Right.
The exchange took place before 178 BC. The death of Seleucus IV in 175 BC
by Heliodorus, go ahead,
in the presence of Demetrius I in Rome led to the young Antiochus
predecessor, right?
Proclamation.
Proclamation,
as king.
Go ahead, as king, right. I'm sorry. I couldn't see that word. Go ahead.
But the minister Heliodorus.
But the treasurer, Heliodorus,
who probably killed Seleucus IV, held the real power.
Right. Heliodorus had the power, go ahead, really, because he was a grown older man. And Seleucus, his son was only 5. Go ahead.
Antiochus IV soon arrived in Syria.
So his uncle arrives. Antiochus Epiphanes, he arrives. Go ahead.
And proclaimed himself a co-ruler and successor.
He said, I'm going to be co-ruler with the little boy. He said, I'll be the co-ruler. Go ahead.
In succession that was illegal.
That was illegal. So he said, listen, he came over and said, listen, I'm going to be co-ruler illegally. Remember, Heliodorus and Antiochus are ruling. He said, nah, I'm going to rule. I'm co-ruler. Go ahead.
Antiochus IV disposed of Heliodorus.
So he disposed of Heliodorus. Go ahead.
And kept his nephew in the shadow.
And kept his nephew in the back. Get your ass in the back, little boy. Go ahead.
The young Antiochus died in 170, 169 BC.
He died, so he lived 5 more years. He died at 10, right? Go ahead.
Possibly on the orders of Antiochus IV.
Because his uncle killed him. Oh, man. Antiochus said, hey, get rid of this kid, man. Give it to him, man. I'm king, man. Give it to him, man. Dang. So that explains how Antiochus Epiphanes became king. The little horn that rose up in Daniel, that explains how. That's a bit more detail as to how he became king. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. It is almost 3 o'clock. We'll be back at, oh, it's early. Yeah, we're going to come back at a little before 3 o'clock. I'm gonna let you guys ask some questions. If you have any questions regarding the topic, you can call in or you can text in any questions you may have so far regarding the topic at 267-702-6121. That's 267-702-6121. So hold on, we'll be back at this break. All right, shalom.
History.
Shalom Israel, no son Christ bless. Deacon Nathan here of IUIC Philadelphia. You're tuned in to our Hidden History Radio, where we go into deep understanding and history of who we are, according to the Bible, the hidden artifacts, the archaeology, the geography, all you can think of that shrouds around our history of the Bible, we go into it in depth. So Israel, like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel, our Hidden History Radio. See you then. Shalom, no son Christ bless.
Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know history?
If you know that everything will be alright. I open up my Bible, see it's full of famous men. From the beginning of Genesis to Revelation's end. I open up my Bible, see it's full of famous men. From the beginning of Genesis to Revelation's end.
Yeah, see I open up the book that the heathens try to hide. There go David in the past, Solomon in his prime. Yeah, Apostle Paul was black, was confused for Egyptian. Couple Jews called them niggas, now they add 2 G's. Call you ignorant, and we were, till we open up the law. Misconception by conception, now we know how Christ was born. Moses' head wasn't straight, and his eyes wasn't blue. Man, the church got us fooled. Man, these Edomites is doomed for the words that they spake and the lies that they told. Vagabonds from the womb, it go deeper than that. Talking Cain and Abel back, and their judgment won't be slack. It was all prophesied, famous men don't lie in this book.
I open up my Bible, see it's full of famous men. From the beginning of Genesis to Revelation's end. I open up my Bible, see it's full of famous men. From the beginning of Genesis to Revelation's end.
All right, we're back. Back from the break. We ended up with Seleucus being killed, his son Antiochus taking over, and then his uncle killing him, who was Antiochus Epiphanes, and he becomes king. All right. Now remember, Demetrius I Soter was now hostage at Rome at this point. All right. So don't forget that, because he will play a very, very important role later on in the history of the reign of these kings. Let's get 2 Maccabees 4 and 1. All right, 2 Maccabees 4 and 1.
2 Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 1. This Simon now, of whom we spake afore,
The tribe of Benjamin, the guy that had beef with Onias, go ahead.
having been a betrayer of the money and of his country, slandered Onias, as if he had terrified Heliodorus and been the worker of these evils.
So this dude was the one. So he went and told the king the reason why Heliodorus is scared is not because the angels beat him up, but because Onias threatened him. This guy is a problem. Jake, wicked as hell. Go ahead.
Thus was he bold to call him a traitor, that had deserved well of the city,
Onias said, this guy's a traitor. Go ahead.
and tendered his own nation, and was so zealous of the laws. But when their hatred went so far that by one of Simon's faction murders were committed.
Murders were committed.
Murders were committed.
So there was beef. So Simon had his own men under him. They started committing murders. So there was beef between Onias and him. It led to a murder. Go ahead.
Onias, seeing the danger of this contention, and that Apollonius, being the governor of Seleucia and Phoenice, did rage and increase Simon's malice.
So Apollonius, keep that guy in mind. Apollonius, keep his name in mind. Did rage. It says, did what? Read again. Verse 4 again.
Onias, seeing the danger of this contention, and that Apollonius, being the governor of Seleucia and Phoenice, did rage and increase Simon's malice.
Go ahead.
He went to the king, not to be an accuser of his countrymen, but seeking the good of all, both public and private. For he saw that it was impossible that the state should continue quiet, and Simon leave his folly unless the king look thereunto.
So he had to go to the white man to stop the Negro from acting stupid. Okay, that's what Onias had to resort to going to the white man that could step in and stop Simon from this madness. Go ahead.
But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus, called Epiphanes, took the kingdom,
Because he killed Seleucus' son and became king. Read that earlier. Go ahead.
Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high king.
More
high
evil
priest.
Negroes. So Onias had beef with Simon, tribe of Benjamin, his governor of the temple. He beefed with him, and meanwhile, his own brother Jason is laboring underhanded secretly to be high priest and replace him. Go ahead.
Promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and another revenue 80 talents. Beside this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise.
A gym. He said, listen, I'll give you more money just to make sure, make me high priest, and I'll pay you. Okay, replace Onias with me as high priest, and I'll give you all this money and more. Let me build a gym. Let me build the gym as well. Go ahead.
And for the training up of youth and the fashions of the heathen.
Sports. Let me train up the kids in the fashion of the heathen. That's sports. That's your football. That's your basketball. That's your baseball. That's your Olympics. That's what this is. The training up of the youth in sports. Okay? Go ahead.
And to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians.
Of Antiochans. So that's their so basically, that's their team. Like your Bulls, your Jets, your Cavaliers, your Cowboys, your Vikings. That's what this is. Yankees, your Mets, same thing. Go ahead.
Which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule.
So he basically made Jason a high priest because of this. Go ahead.
He forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion.
Jason, which is a Greek form of the name Joshua, brought his people to the Greek fashion. To the Greek fashion. All for what? For power. Go ahead.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away.
So John, the father of Eupolemus, was a Jew, and he's a guy that played a role later on regarding us seeking aid from the Romans against the Greeks. That's who he is. He took him over. He removed him. Okay, so going into that. The author's talking about what he did, what this guy did later on. But in this instance, in this time here, Jason had him removed. Go ahead.
And putting down the governments, which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law.
Jason brought up new customs in the Greek fashion that were against the commandments of God. Go ahead.
For he built gladly a place of exercise.
He built what is called a gymnasium. The word gymnasium means a place to be naked. Because they played sports naked. Gymnasium. Go ahead.
For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat.
And made them wear a hat.
Hold up.
Made him wear a hat. Made him wear a hat. Don't stop that. Don't stop here. Hold on. Made them wear a hat. I'll go back to it. Go ahead. I'm gonna revisit it again. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Now such was the height of Greekish fashions and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest.
He was not a high priest. He sought power and authority. He was an ungodly wretch and no high priest like his brother Onias was. Go ahead.
That the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be
hastened
to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise.
So he removed the courage that the Levites had to serve in the temple, and turn their love of God to love of sports. Because in sports, you get the fame, the fortune, the money, the women, and no laws holding you down. You're in the world. That's what happened. Go ahead.
After the game of discus.
After the game of what?
After the game of discus.
The game of discus is that game. Give me the image, Google image discus statue, DISCUS statue. Let's see what they're wearing. Yep, click one of those. Yep, that one. I want the whole one, the full thing. Yep, blow it up. That's the old statue of the game of discus being played in ancient times. You zoom in. As you can see, this man is butt naked. He has nothing on. Gymnasium, place to be naked. They played Olympics with nothing on. That was a Greek fashion. Alexander the Great fought butt naked with a cape on. That's why you can't fight people like that. I can't fight no man with his balls swinging all over the place. You can't fight me. That's distraction, man.
That's a setup, bro.
You just gonna fight. You gonna fight me with everything that's swinging out. You're never gonna put your pants on. That's why they won battles, man. The game. They had gay powers, man. I'm telling you straight.
People are so mesmerized. Be like, what the hell?
Why the cape though? You gonna wear a cape and be butt naked?
Super homo.
Super gay, man. Anyway, but that's how they played discus. He was butt naked playing discus. All right. We got a text. See what it says there. Read that real quick.
Is Nania, who is Diana, the same as Wonder Woman today?
Yes. Most indeed. That's why Wonder Woman's name is what? Diana. Diana of Themyscira. Yes. And where she lived? In an island of a bunch of lesbians.
Shalom leadership, Most High in Christ bless. Thank you for these weekly gems. I am just curious if later on in this captivity, will you be touching on the conversion of Edom by John Hyrcanus at all?
Yeah, I did. I taught a class years ago called Edom, Rise and Fall of an Imposter. It's about 3 hours long. It's called Edom, Rise and Fall of an Imposter. You can find it on YouTube. You shut it down, but everybody downloaded it and uploaded it so many times, it's hard to get rid of. So it's called Edom, the Rise and Fall of an Empire, and that I go into history thoroughly proving how they became converts and leading up to today, and how Herod and things of that nature, and so on and so forth. How the Khazarian Empire fell, and they ended up in Poland, and Russia and mixed around and blah, blah, blah. Just watch that video. But I will touch on it briefly, but I already kind of touched it in that video, in that class. So just watch that class. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. I go into a lot of old books and encyclopedias in that class. It was very, very, very much enjoyable for me and for the class. What's the next one?
Shalom, Most High in Christ, blessed deacon. It's Elijah from San Antonio.
Okay.
You should
Shalom,
look.
bro.
You should look into buying Holman's Illustrated Bible Dictionary. It has some good stuff in there.
Okay.
Also, I was wondering if you were aware that the Catholics demoted the Apocrypha into a second canon status called deuterocanonical.
No, I was unaware of that. I was unaware the Catholics are behind that term or behind labeling it deuterocanonical. I was unaware of that, but I appreciate the information. I'll look into it more. Yeah.
Shalom, Most High in Christ, blessed deacon. Great information. I just want to.
Well, they deem it that, but we all know that it's valid to them. That's why it's in their Bibles. Yeah.
Shalom, Most High in Christ, blessed deacon. Great information. I just want to say, Onias is that guy deacon. Onias is that guy deacon. Hey, OHH listeners, put some respect on my name. I regenerated, man.
Oh my God! All right, this dude. I'm regenerated, man. Get out of here, man. Who's up next? I'm regenerated.
Shalom,
man.
deacon and brothers, peace and love. I was wondering what exactly are the reasons that people claim the Apocrypha is not accurate / don't belong in the Bible. I've read that it was taken out by the Protestants because the Catholics use it.
Right.
Also something about making more money. I thought I'd ask because I know if anyone knows, y'all know, and can enlighten us on what the lies are and how to combat them.
Well, to sum it up, basically the Catholics deemed the Apocrypha to be holy, like holy books, like pretty much like of God, pretty much canon. And you have Protestants that were opposed to that. They thought that the books were not canon, and that they were just books for learning and learning alone, not canon, not divinely inspired. King James also, and the translators, it's said that they shared the same thought, but they believed that the Apocrypha, were still books that were worthy of being added to the Bible because it bridges the gap between the old and new. So they didn't deem them as divinely inspired, but they deemed them as books of edification. The Protestants were, of course, against certain Catholic ideals or whatever, so they protested against Catholics in certain areas, but they still maintained Catholic ideals, white Jesus, Immaculate Conception, Sunday worship. So it's like so Protestants are like an offshoot of the Catholic Church, like an offshoot. No more than Baptists, Jehovah's Witnesses, it's the same thing. But the reason why the Apocrypha was removed, to answer your initial question, is because the Apocrypha bridges the gap, as I said before, between the Old and New Testaments. When you read the Apocrypha, it explains how the Greeks came into power. Esther explains how the Macedonians or Edom, Agag, Agagites, and I went over that recently with Persian captivity. It goes into how the Macedonians were Edomites. There's other books that say it, but the Apocrypha makes it clear how our Macedonians were Edomites, how evils multiplied in the earth when the Greeks came into power. What else? Maccabees history, how we became Greeks and Grecians in the New Testament goes back to what we're reading right now, and the orders of the edicts of Antiochus, the edicts of his general Ptolemy, Macron. What else? And then of course the conversion of Herod's family, of John Hyrcanus. Herod's family came from under there, Antipater. You read the last book of Maccabees, it mentions John, who's John Hyrcanus. It goes into that. And that's pretty much the preface to how the Herodians became the rulers of Judea, pretty much. So the Apocrypha contains a whole lot of history, to sum it all up, that bridges the gap between the Old Testament and New Testament. The Apocrypha is basically the Old Testament continued, leading you to understand why Paul was writing to Greeks and Grecians, all right? Or uncircumcision or heathen, same thing. As just explains us coming to the Americas, that's a big important thing to know, because Moses mentions it, to the ends of the earth, and Ezra confirms it. Revelation talks about the fourth part of the earth, that's this side of the world, and that how the beast was going to conquer this side of the world. Why? Because Israel will be over here too. So these are gems that explain why the Apocrypha was removed and why scholars like that man in the video took out the Vatican and researched it, because it talks about what they would do in this time from then until now. Those are the reasons why it was removed or not deemed canon or protested or deemed false, at the slander with the whole Antiochus being killed thing in the temple versus another death he faces in, him being beheaded in the temple versus him dying another way. Oh, that's why it's invaluable. And you research it, it was his father that was killed. So there's many different reasons, but hopefully that answers your question. That's a long text, so I'll give you a long answer. All right, anything else?
Zooming in a little bit.
That's it? All right, so let's go back to First Maccabees 4, Second Maccabees 4. I want to try and finish it off.
Verse 15.
Hold on a second. Tell me what you got. Okay. What else we in?
We were finishing off verse 14.
Verse 14, read that.
Second Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 14. That the priest had no courage.
Verse 13 again.
Verse 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions.
Such was the height of Greek fashions. That's wearing the hat. Keep the hat in mind. I will touch on that next week, most likely. I'm not going to have time to go over this. But the hat. That's Greek fashion. And walking around throwing the disc butt naked, that's Greek fashion too. Go ahead. Being half naked is a Greek fashion, period. That's a European fashion. Mini skirts, breasts out, thighs out. That's European fashion. French, Spanish fashion is all Greek regardless. Same damn people. Walking around with spandex on, our sisters walking around with spandex on, that's Greek fashion too. Those are leggings. All right? And Esau decided to wear them as exercise pants. Esau jogs. What they wear? Those spandex pants. The men and women. What black women start doing, I got big behind, I wear it too. And it became a thing. But those are undergarments. All right? That's Greek fashions. Nakedness is a European fashion. Go ahead.
Now such was the height of Greek fashions, an increase of heathenish manners.
And behind the fashion comes what? The behavior. The bad behavior, Greek behavior. Greek behaviors follow behind Greek fashion. How you dress changes how you behave. You wear a three-piece suit, you act different. You don't act the same. You don't act like, yo, what up, yo. You walk around, you stand up straighter. You act more sophisticated. You act more mature. How you dress changes how you behave. Women wears tight spandex, whatever, or tight ass jeans versus a wedding dress is different. That is different. It's a complete different spirit. Examine a sister that wears her wedding dress versus tight ass spandex pants. They walk different. They act different because it's a different apparel. It affects your mind. How you dress changes your mindset. Okay, like for example, when you go to work, you put on a uniform. It's different. If you're a doctor, especially, it's a different kind of feeling. Regular clothes versus doctor's uniform is different. Go ahead.
An increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest.
Go ahead.
That the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise.
They hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance. Go ahead.
Of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise.
The gym, butt naked place. Go ahead.
After the game of discus called them forth.
After the game of discus in the gymnasium called them forth, which is right outside the temple. Called them forth. Watch this.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers.
They began to forget about David. Forget about Jeremiah. Forget about Ezra. Forget about Nehemiah. Forget about Solomon. Hezekiah. They said, the hell with them. Go ahead.
But liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Alexander, Antiochus, Lysimachus, Ptolemy. They began to honor them best of all. Go ahead.
By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things.
That's Negroes today. They desire to be like the white man in all things. How he dresses, how he speaks, how he lives, where he lives, his woman, his man, his men, his women, his fashion, his sports. Got you. His sports, all of that. We desire to be like the Greeks in all things. So much so, we became them. And that's who Paul is writing to all in his letters. Multiple times. We're reading about the intertestamental period when the Jews became Greeks or Grecians or Hellenized. Go ahead.
For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of God, but the time following shall declare these things.
The time following this situation shall declare these things. It's not good. It's not good to follow your oppressor. Go ahead.
Now when the game that was used every 5th year was kept at Tyrus, the king being present, this ungracious Jason sent special messengers.
Matter of fact, hold on to that. Get Daniel 8 and 12. And Daniel 8, verse 10 to 12.
Daniel
prophesied this is going to happen.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground.
The it that waxed great was Antiochus Epiphanes. Antiochus Epiphanes is the it that waxed great, that little horn that waxed great. Go ahead.
And stamped upon them.
Read verse 10 from the top again.
And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven.
Meaning the priests, the Levites, the temple, the servants of the temple. Go ahead.
And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground.
It cast down the priests, which are the host of the stars of heaven, and it's the stars, meaning the Israelites who are, remember, the Levites are the leaders. So once the elders went down, Israel went down with them. The stars went down with them. Go ahead. Into what? Into idolatry. Go ahead.
And stamped upon them.
And it stamped the doctrine of Hellenism upon us to the point where we became Greeks. Go ahead.
Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host.
He magnified himself even to the prince of the host, meaning referring to Antiochus. With the help of Jason, he made us pretty much worship the Greeks. Go ahead.
And by him, the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Why? Because we desire to be like the Grecians, most of all. We no longer desire to be partakers of the altar. He said the hell of the temple. Go ahead.
And the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
The place of his sanctuary was cast down, because the priests had no desire to serve there anymore. Go ahead.
And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression.
Because they became Antiochans. They became Greeks and followed the Greek fashions. Go ahead. And Jason as well. Go ahead.
And it cast down the truth to the ground.
The laws of God were cast down because now unlawful allowances were allowed and the laws were not. Go ahead.
And it practiced and prospered.
And it practiced and it prospered. We desire to be at the nation. We desire to be at the nations in all things. And the Lord eventually made them our punishers for being that way. That's it in verse 12. Go back to the Maccabees again.
Yes, sir.
Even in verse
16.
16. Go ahead.
Second Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 16. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for
No. We was in
18. Now when the game that was used every 5th year was kept at Tyrus, the king being present, this ungracious Jason sent special messengers from Jerusalem, who were Antiochians, to carry 300 drams of silver to the sacrifice of Hercules.
So he made us worship Hercules. Okay, go ahead.
Which even the bearers thereof thought fit not to bestow upon the sacrifice, because it was not convenient, but to be reserved for other charges.
Yeah.
This money then, in regard of the sender, was appointed to Hercules' sacrifice, but because of the bearers thereof, it was employed to the making of galleys. Now when Apollonius, the son of
Menestius
was sent into Egypt for the coronation of the king Ptolemais,
Philometor. Lover of my mother, lover of mom. Pater is father, and Mater is mother. So it says they sent Apollonius, the son of Menestius, was sent into Egypt for the coronation, meaning he was this guy was being made king for the coronation of Ptolemaeus Philometor. Of Ptolemaeus Philometor, that's Ptolemaeus Philometor the sixth. Son of Ptolemy, he's the son of Ptolemy the fifth, Epiphanes. All right, this guy, Ptolemaeus Philometor, the sixth is the son of Ptolemy the fifth, Epiphanes. That's what this guy is, all right? We're almost done. Go ahead.
Antiochus, understanding him not to be well affected to his affairs, provided for his own safety, whereupon he came to Joppa, and from thence to Jerusalem.
Come on.
Where he was honorably received of Jason.
So Antiochus shows up to Jerusalem. Go ahead. And Jason was happy to see him. Go ahead.
And the
damn coon. Go ahead.
Where he was honorably received of Jason and of the city, and was brought in with torchlight and with great shoutings. And so afterward went with his host unto Phoenice.
Oh, God. Go ahead.
3 years afterward, Jason sent Menelaus, the aforesaid Simon's brother.
So Jason sent Simon's brother. Simon's the guy that had beef with Onias. Okay, and then Jason is the brother of Onias. So Jairus sends up Simon's brother Menelaus. He has him under him. Go ahead.
To bear the money unto the king, and to put him in mind of certain necessary matters.
So Simon's brother Menelaus, he had him over the money he collected. Go ahead.
But he being brought to the presence of the king, when he had magnified for the glorious appearance of his power, got the priesthood to himself.
So Menelaus underhandedly replaced Jason. So he betrayed him. And does the same way he betrayed his brother? He got betrayed by Simon's brother. Go ahead.
Crabs in the barrel.
Yeah, crabs in the barrel. It's all niggerdom. It's a bunch of black, dumb black people fighting for power. Go ahead.
Offering more than Jason.
Offering more money than Jason can give. Go ahead.
By 300 talents of silver.
300 more talents of silver. Go ahead.
So he came with the king's mandate, bringing nothing worthy the high priesthood, but having the fury of a cruel tyrant and the rage of a savage beast.
And Simon's the tribe of Benjamin, because Simon is the tribe of Benjamin. Menelaus is Benjamin. He can't even be high priest anyway, not even of the line of high priests. He's a Benjamite. But they're so damn evil, he became a high priest anyway.
Power hungry.
Power hungry, go ahead.
Then Jason, who had undermined his own brother, being undermined by another, was compelled to flee into the country of the Ammonites.
He had to run, because Menelaus was going to kill him. Go ahead.
So Menelaus got the principality, but as for the money that he had promised unto the king, he took no good order for it.
To get that position, he didn't pay the king for it. Go ahead.
Albeit Sostratus, the ruler of the castle, required it.
Go ahead.
For unto him appertained the gathering of the customs.
Of the taxes. Go ahead.
Wherefore they were both called before the king. Now Menelaus left his brother Lysimachus in his stead in the priesthood. Jeez. And Sostratus left Crates, who was governor of the Cyprians. While those things were enduing, they of Tarsus and Melos made insurrection.
Well, all this is going on, there's insurrection going on, there's beef going on. Go ahead.
Because they were given to the king's concubine called Antiochus.
Antiochus is Antiochus Epiphanes' sister. Okay, Antiochus is Antiochus Epiphanes' sister, or Antiochus the Great's daughter. He had Seleucus, Philopator, he had Antiochus Epiphanes, and he had a daughter named Antiochus, daughter.
And that's the one that married his sister.
That's Laodice. No, this is a sister.
Okay.
Her name is Laodice. There's another sister. This is Antiochus. She married somebody and caused problems in the realm. That family was troublesome. So remember, Menelaus offered the king more money to make him priest instead of Jason. And then the king wanted to collect. So they were called before the king, the guy that wanted the money from him, and Menelaus himself. So Menelaus had to go and answer for why he had the money and set up his brother Lysimachus in his stead in the high priesthood. In the meantime, and Sostratus left Crates, who was governor of the Cyprians. So Sostratus and Menelaus had to go before the king to discuss why the money wasn't given to the king for his position, Menelaus. And in their absence, Sostratus was left behind this guy named Crates, and Menelaus left behind his brother Lysimachus. In the midst of all that's going on, his Antiochus' sister Antiochus is causing problems in some realm she's in with some husband of hers. Go ahead, I'm almost done.
Verse 31. Then came the king in all haste to appease matters, leaving Andronicus, a man in authority, for his deputy.
Keep that name in mind, Andronicus. Go ahead.
Now Menelaus, supposing that he had gotten a convenient time, stole certain vessels of gold out of the temple.
Because he didn't have the money he promised. He didn't have the money. So he went in the temple and stole out the temple. Gold, go ahead.
And gave some of them to Andronicus, and some he sold to Tyrus and the cities round about.
Go ahead.
Which when Onias knew of a surety, he reproved him and withdrew himself into a sanctuary at Daphne, that lieth by Antiochus.
Right, Syria, go ahead.
Wherefore,
or Antioch, same place, go ahead.
Wherefore, Menelaus, taking Andronicus apart.
So Onias rebuked him for taking money out the temple to pay the king off, to pay his debts off. He was behind, he was in debt. So he stole from the temple. Onias got rid of it and checked him for it. He runs to Andronicus. Go ahead.
Prayed him to get Onias into his hands, who being persuaded thereunto, and coming to Onias in deceit, gave him his right hand with oaths.
You need to trust him. Go ahead.
And though he were suspected by him,
Onias suspected Andronicus. Go ahead.
Yet persuaded he him to come forth of the sanctuary.
I want to talk to you. Let me talk to you for a second, Onias. Go ahead.
From forthwith he shut up without regard of justice.
Meaning he killed Onias without regard of justice. So Menelaus convinced Andronicus to kill Onias for no reason. Dumb, idiot Negroes. Go ahead.
For the which cause not only the Jews, but many also of other nations took great indignation and were much grieved for the unjust murder of the man.
People are pissed. Even other nations are mad on that because Onias is an honorable man. And so honorable that other nations respected him. Go ahead.
And when the king was come again from the places about Sicilia, the Jews that were in the city, and certain of the Greeks that abhorred the fact also, complained because Onias was slain without cause.
He was slain for no reason. Go ahead.
Therefore, Antiochus was heartily sorry, and moved to pity and wept.
So Antiochus was moved by the people. He started crying. Go ahead.
Because of the sober and modest behavior of him that was dead.
Watch this.
And being kindled with anger, forthwith he took away Andronicus his purple, and rent off his clothes, and lending him through the
leading
him through the whole city unto that very place.
Where he killed Onias at. Go ahead.
Where he had committed impiety against Onias. There slew he the cursed murderer. Thus the Lord rewarded him his punishment as he had deserved.
So he got killed the same place he killed Onias. Well, praise the Lord for that. So I'm going to end it right there. We're past our time. Hope you guys got edification from this class. I'm glad I was able to answer some of your questions. So praises for that. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to stop there. And we're going to continue on, Lord's will, after I finish 2 Maccabees 4. We're going to go back into that hat. All right, that hat that they were made to wear. I'm going to go into the details of that and what that evolved to throughout time up to today. All right, so with that, we're going to say shalom on the announcements.
Yes, sir.
Oh, shout out to the IT team and shout out to the breakfast team. Brothers did an excellent job. All right, go ahead.
All praise to the Most High Israel. Let's give Deacon another hand for the class. Now, Israel, for more content with the Deacon, go over to IUIC Philadelphia in the classroom page right now and subscribe. We have new snippets with the Doctrine Say himself, so don't miss out. Also, you're going to subscribe to our regular IUIC Philadelphia page as well as our hidden history for the latest camp videos and previous OH8 videos. Also for donations. If you would like to donate to OHH, donate on PayPal to IUIC Philadelphia at IsraelUnite.org. And also, don't forget to donate to the Booster Club. You can make your donations at IUIC.fundraiser@IsraelUnite.org. That's it, D.
All right. So with that, Lord's will, Israel, and those who are watching, the viewers, hope you enjoyed the show. And Lord's will, we'll see you next week with more information that I hope you'll enjoy. With that, we say shalom. Most time, God bless.
Shalom.
See you then.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back, Peter on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Lord, I got they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.